Hi everyone, a very warm welcome to each and every one of you. Thank you for joining me in this session. Today I will be talking to you about how you can accelerate sales with Sales Insights. Throughout the session, please feel free to use the hashtag Scottish Summit 2021 so that you can follow more news and more about the events that are happening today. All right. Before we get started, I would like to thank all our sponsors, ScriptRunner, GQ Global, Proximo 3, Redspire, Agilicis, and Hitachi Solutions. Thank you so much for making this event possible. A big shout out to all the volunteers who have worked very hard into making this event a successful one. So thank you once again. My name is Janice Dsouza, and I am a Dynamics 365 functional consultant. I'm very new to this Dynamics 365 community. This is my first ever talk at the Scottish Summit, so I'm really excited and happy to be here. I would love to connect with you guys on LinkedIn. I've put in my profile details, so please feel free to connect with me and. Yep, I would love to hear some interesting ideas that you guys have. All right, so let's get started. In the next 40 minutes, I will begin by talking to you about what the Sales Insights is all about, a quick glance at the key features, followed by an overview of the premium forecasting, which is one of an amazing feature of the Sales Insights. And then finally, I will give you a quick demo of all the features. Hopefully, we can smash it in 40 minutes. So, yes, let's get started. So, what is the Sales Insights? It is an add on that is provided within the Dynamics 365 Sales module. The Sales Insights essentially harnesses the power of artificial intelligence to analyze vast collection of customer interaction data that is stored within the Dynamics 365 database. So this helps sales representatives and managers to take actions in a timely manner and also provides you with a list of actionable insights. So what does this mean for productivity? It helps to minimize manual data entry and it provides real-time suggestions and it also creates guided actions for you. Using these insights, you can build stronger relationship with your customer base, and also it helps you maintain a good, healthy relationship score with your customers. So this helps you to track how your customer is doing by analyzing the conversations that you are having with them. The Sales Insights also uses predictive models, which harnesses the artificial intelligence to improve your conversation between you and the leads. And this helps you create more opportunities and ultimately more wins for your company. So these are the key features of Sales Insights, broadly categorized into standard features and premium features. The standard features come with the sales module licensing, so you get the assistant, the auto capture, email engagement, and forecasting. Essentially, these are lighter versions of the premium features. Premium features are more broader. You can deep dive. There is a lot of AI driven analytics in there. They are licensed separately, and you can get more information about the licensing in the Microsoft documentation. The free trial is available for 30 days, so in case you want to go and explore it, there's a bit of sample data as well. So you can check the premium features out. However, in this session, we are going to look at most of the premium features. We'll see how we can configure it and deep dive into these main features of Sales Insights. So, premium forecasting. This, according to me, is one of the best features of Sales Insights. What it essentially does is that it uses artificial intelligence driven models to analyze your historical data and the sales pipeline to give you a predicted revenue amount for that particular forecasting period. There are different ways in which you can set up your premium forecasting in the background. You can set it up on the basis of organizational hierarchies or territory based or even product based. So, the example I have for you here is that of an organizational hierarchy. You can see that Dustin is a supervisor and he's got a couple of subordinates under him. So these values generally roll up to make the total value of the quota, which corresponds to that supervisor. The columns in here are configurable. These are calculated and roll up fields. What I want to do is draw your attention to that prediction column. So when you click on on any of the prediction, it gives you a breakdown of the total prediction. In here, you can see that the values are dependent on four different sectors. So the closed one essentially refers to the actual revenue of opportunities that have been closed as a one during that prediction period. Then there is the predicted from open, which kind of tells you that this is the total estimated revenue from the open opportunities that are predicted to close during that forecasted period. Then there is the predicted from new, which is the total estimated revenue from new opportunities that are predicted to close within that forecast period. And finally, it gives you the total prediction. At the bottom, there is also a narrative that gives you an idea of what are the different factors that are essentially affecting the breakdown of that total prediction. Another cool feature of the premium forecasting is that you can go in and adjust the values within the committed section for any particular record. And based on that, you can do an analysis of how the values, how your sales pipeline could potentially be affected. So adjusting the values in the committed column does not mean that the actual underlying opportunity revenue is changed. It's just solely for reporting perspective to give you an idea of how it could potentially skew the results of the sales pipeline. So, apart from the grid view, we've also got the trend analysis and the flow analysis within the premium forecasting. So, the trend analysis shows you how the forecast amount is trending over a particular period of time. It is sort of a point in time view, so it changes based on the date that you have selected. The flow analysis demonstrates how the revenue has moved between time periods. For example, you can choose a date range and then it shows you a comparison of the two dates that you have selected. A good example would be to check how your pipeline is doing before pre-COVID and how it's doing post-COVID. So you can understand how these revenues are moving. You can see that some of the values within the best case are moved to remote and some of them have actually moved to pipeline. So this is really good from a reporting standpoint. So there are many ways in which you can view this data. You can create your own views and select it from the drop down, or you also have the ability to look at the data in a Kanban board view. So you can move the tiles across, for example, from pipeline to committed, and that way it follows the business process flow that you have defined, and it makes you fill all of those mandatory information that you need to enter as and when you move from one stage to another. All right, let's go ahead and configure a forecast. In order to do that, go into the Sales Hub, change the area to App Settings, and then select Forecast Configuration. You can see that there are three different templates out of the box, the org chart, one for products, and one for territory. You can also create one from scratch. At the bottom, there is a view that shows you your existing forecast. So I'm going to go ahead and create an org chart forecast. So first give your forecast a name. So I'm going to name this as sample. Select your roll-up entity and the hierarchy entity. It's going to automatically create a hierarchy relationship for you. Select who is at the top of the hierarchy. So this could be a sales manager or a VP. And what it's going to do is give you a preview of the hierarchy and how it looks like. You can also select your time frame and then hit the next button. So the next screen is going to show you the user security field. So if there are any security rules that you would like to add into um, this view of the forecast, you can do that in this screen. I'm going to hit the next button, which is going to take me to the layout. Here I can go in and add the columns of my choice. For example, if I add in prediction here, we can see that the prediction column appears within the layout. I can also add any other column of my choice, and this could be a calculated field or a roll-up field. Based on the option sets, I can bring out those columns. I can also add any additional filters of my choice, or I can even drill down by a particular entity. Um, I can also take a snapshot. So this is very useful while creating trend charts and flow charts. So I'm going to say enable so that I can get that graph based on the historical data. Then I'm going to go ahead and select next. So this gives you a bunch of options to enable or to disable. You can also go in and add in a JavaScript library if you want to. Finally, you can upload either a quota or a static data and then go in and activate that forecast. Now to view the forecast, you need to go into your sales, scroll down until you see the performance, and below that you will be able to see your forecast. Now that you've had a good understanding of premium forecasting, let's go into CRM and check out the other features that Sales Insight has to offer. Let's talk about Sales Accelerator. Now, this is a feature of the Sales Insight. If I go into my Dynamics 365, I can see that the Sales Accelerator sits under my work section. The idea of Sales Accelerator is so sales managers and sales representatives can utilize their time better and stay on top of their leads and their opportunities. Sales representatives usually spend a huge chunk of their day-to-day activities to identify the best customer in their list. So in order to make sure that they have a prioritized list and a strong pipeline, it is important to create a sort of a work list where you can get all the information in one place, and it can tell you that okay, what is the next step of action that needs to take place in order to engage with this customer. So it kind of provides you with a tailored experience by minimizing the time that you spend on searches and by being intelligent and smartly giving you the suggestions on what is the next best action to take in order to engage with this customer. All right, so let's have a look at how we can configure the Sales Accelerator for our sales insights. Um, Basically, the Sales Accelerator sits under the My Work section, and to configure it, we need to change the area from Sales to Sales Insight settings. That will bring you up into this screen where you can see that there is global settings as well as there are personal settings. In the global settings, there is a dedicated section for the Sales Accelerator. If you go into setup, it is just going to ask you to accept the terms and conditions. And once you have done that, you can set up some sequences for activity creation. You can choose the content and layout, and also you can define the access roles for the teams who would be accessing the sales accelerator. Along with this, you can configure the dialer so as to set up integrated calls. The main feature of the Sales Accelerator is the sequences. Before I get into the details of sequences, I'd like to tell you that there is a 30-day free trial for the Sales Insights. So you can just go in, and then there is that link here. If you just click on it, it will guide you with the setup and also with the details about the free trial. There's also information about the licensing in there. Uh, Within the sequence, you can create a new sequence. So essentially, sequences are kind of a work list, a guided work list that tells you how you can proceed with your day-to-day activities for in order to prioritize a lead or an opportunity, and what is the next course of action that you need to take. So you would essentially enter a sequence name. I'm going to name it as sample and a description for the sequence. You can choose a record type. It could be a lead or an opportunity. So once I hit next, it's going to give me this list of sequences that I can create for the different activities. So it could be an email, a phone call, a task, or you could even set a waiting period. Now I've created a sample one, so I'm just going to show you how I've created this lead to opportunity checklist. So firstly, I've started by creating an email. So I've got the title of the email as follow up to our meeting, and then I've added an email template to it. Uh, you can store email templates and you can add it in here so that you don't even have to go in and type that email template. This is just going to populate for you, and then you can edit some of the details or add on to that. Once we've finished with sending out this email, we can go in and set up a phone call. So the next thing I want to do is to chat to this lead about the terms and conditions. So I can set up a phone call for that. And once I have done that, I want to make sure that I have a task with which I can do a documentation for the checklist before I send it to my lead. And finally, once I have collaborated with that lead based on whether I have won or lost that lead, I want to update my task. So that is essentially how you build a sequences. You can have much more, you can have many more steps to your sequences. You can even add in a wait time if needed. I'm going to go back to my sales and show you how you can connect your leads to the sequence that you have just created. So go into the lead section or even the opportunity section if you had an opportunity sequence created. Select the record of your choice and then hit the connect sequence button. And then you can see the list of all the sequences that you have created. Hit on the sequence that you want to connect the record to and click connect. Soon after, what is going to happen is that it is going to appear under the sales accelerator area, and it is going to show you a bit of analytics related to that record. If you want to filter this out by if you just want to see your leads or only the opportunities, you can go into all items, more filters, and then add the filters for either leads, opportunities, or even activity types. Going back into the record, we can see that there is this style that tells you that essentially is the work list. So initially you would start by sending out that introduction email, and you can hit the email button to create that email along with that template that you've already preloaded. Once you've finished it, you can hit mark complete. So what is going to happen is that it's going to give you the next step in the sequence. So the next step for me is to set up a follow-up call. So I can just click on the call icon and then I can mark my activity as completed once I have finished the call. So once all of these steps are completed, I can finally either qualify or disqualify the lead. So this is essentially making the process of qualifying or disqualifying a lead much more easier on me as a sales representative. In order to disconnect a lead or an opportunity, go back into that respective area, select that record and hit the disconnect sequence button. So what that's going to do is it's going to disconnect the sequence and then you will no longer see it in your sales accelerator. All right, folks, so let's have a look at the Premium Assistant feature within the Sales Hub. So the way to configure this is by changing the area from Sales to Sales Insight Settings. And within the global settings, you can see the Assistant Studio. Now, the idea of these insight cards is to track your daily actions and your communication through actionable insight cards. So once you go into the Insight card, you can either create your own new card with a template of your choice, or you could go in and use the out of the box Insight cards that are available. For example, if you've missed a close date, the assistant would show your missed close date in the form of an insight card, and from within the insight card, you can open the opportunity directly. Or if an email is due today, this is what the insight card would look like, and then you can go in and complete it once you've finished your activity. So this is what the assistant would look like. For example, I've got an upcoming meeting in here, which is with Amy Collins at 8:30 p.m. So it gives me a nice little reminder of what things are on my plate for today and for the following days. I've also got a couple of reminders in here, so I can have a look at it when I begin my day, so that I know what are the things I need to complete. So now if I go back to my sales view and into the sales accelerator and I open that record that belongs to Amy Collins, on the right side I can see the assistant with the details of what is due today and what are the reminders. It's going to show me a nice little card against that specific record as well. All right, so relationship analytics. There is a view in the Dynamics 365 called My Open Opportunities by Relationship. This gives you all your opportunities, and against each opportunity, it gives you your health state, which is either good or fair, and also a relationship health trend, which tells you if the relationship with your client is improving, if it is steady, or if it is declining. So how these KPIs are calculated is it is dependent on these two columns, which is the time spent by you interacting with your client and also the time that the client has spent engaging with you. The graph on the left shows the relationship pipeline. So you need to go in and select the relationship pipeline, and it gives you this graph. What the graph tells you is that the ones in green are the stuff that you're winning, the opportunities that you're winning, and your progress is going great. The relationship is health is improving, and your relationship health state is good. Whereas there is this bit which is in red, so that kind of tells you that this is where you need to put in a little more extra effort to go in and engage with your clients. The Relationship Analytics tab resides within the Opportunity Record, and it kind of gives you an insight into how well you are doing with your customer base. So in here, it's got the health of the relationship, and it also gives you an interaction. So basically, the emails, the meetings, the phone calls that have been sent from our side, and also the ones that you've received from their side. It also gives you an insight into the response time. So basically, how long you have invested in this, and also their response time as to how long they've taken to engage back with you. We've also got the email engagement tab in here. So this kind of tells you how many emails were opened, the attachments viewed, and the links clicked. So essentially what the relationship analytics tab is trying to tell you is that the greater the interactions that you've had with the client, you know there is a potential chance for a win. So this kind of is a guiding point on where you need to exactly invest your time in. Alright, so let's now have a look at the premium auto capture feature of the Sales Insight. Within my opportunity record, I can see that in the timeline there is an activity suggestion that is created for me. So this is created on the basis of the ongoing email interactions that I have been having with the client. If I go into my email, I can see that that email is created here, it's unopened, and it's not tracked into Dynamics. And that's the reason why it's popped up here. Now, what I can do is I can accept this activity suggestion, I can sync and I can connect so that people with appropriate security roles can have a look at it and they can action on it. So if I go ahead and click on that checkbox in here and then I say that sync and connect, what it's going to do is create that suggested activity, and in here I can see that the activity suggestions have been created for me in one single location. Please bear in mind that it takes a couple of minutes for the activity suggestion to appear in your view. Earlier, what used to happen is that within that particular contact record or the account record, within that timeline, you would see the email activities created. But with the new premium auto capture feature, all the activity suggestions get captured in one single location so that you and your teammates with appropriate security rules can view and action it accordingly. We are now heading into the predictive lead scoring. So in order to set this up, you need to go into your dynamics and then change the area to save inside settings. Within the predictive model, you will be able to see the lead scoring. The setup page will be in front of you, and then you've got to give this model a name and then select the appropriate business process flow. uh, Pick up the status and the state code. So the qualified is usually state code 1 and disqualified is state code 2. You can also pick up the columns that you want to filter the data by. Once you get started, in the background, what Dynamics is doing is that it is training the model. So the prerequisite for this is that you need to have 40 qualified leads and 40 disqualified leads. The idea of predictive lead scoring is that it uses predictive machine learning, wherein it scores the open opportunities that you have. So this allows your salespeople to prioritize their leads, reduce the time that is required to convert these leads, and also spend more time on leads which have low scores and convert them into potential opportunities. For example, if there are two leads, lead A and lead B, lead A has a score of 80. So you know that this is probably going to be a big win for you because there's more chances of success. So it will help you to allow you to engage more with those potential leads. Whereas a lead with a score of say 50, um, quite a low score. So what you can do is go into that lead and figure out what are the potential factors that are affecting this lead to produce a low score. So you can see the parameters and work on it and spend some more time to see how you could possibly convert this lead into an opportunity. Once you've configured your lead scoring model, you can come in and have a look at the configuration summary page. At the top, there's the select model. So if you've got more than one model, you can select from it through the drop down. There's also an option to create a multi-model. So you can create another one and combine them. In the summary page, you can see the lead score grading. So this kind of gives you the ranges between which these grades have been defined. So grade A is the maximum and grade D is the lowest of the grade. These ranges can be changed. So if you're changing this number, automatically the range of grade B changes and so on. Let's now deep dive into one of our lead records to see how our lead scoring model has come into play. Um, I'm immediately drawn into the left-hand side wherein I can see the lead score of our customer, our potential lead being 96. It tells me it falls into the category of grade A and that the trend is improving. At the bottom of the score, there's a little bit of narrative as to what is potentially impacting the score of 96. What are the contributing factors? It says finance is a strong industry, so it's possible that in the past, some of our um, potential leads have been in the finance sector and they have converted into opportunities. It also tells us that there was a campaign that was run and it was quite successful. One of the emails also mentioned an intent to buy, which is a huge contributor for our grade score. There are a bit of negatives over here, which has led the score to drop from probably 100 to 96. It says that the budget is quite low than average. It also talks about three competitors that our client has had mentioned in one of the recent calls. So that's how the predictive lead scoring model works. All right, talking points. So I've gone back into my contact record, and on the right hand side, I can see a widget that says talking points for Amy Collins, and it's giving me a little script. So what the AI has essentially done is that it's gone through all of my activities and my emails, and it has pulled out some information in here, and it says that Amy spoke about family 5 days ago. So essentially, what this does is it is a good starting point to have a conversation. Probably Amy loves to talk about family, so it is a good starting point for the sales rep to talk about family with Amy and build that rapport. If I expand this, I can see that email where she spoke about her husband and says, "My husband and I just saw a new launch of 3D printers at Office Works." How can we configure talking points? It's very simple. Go into Sales Insights settings, and within the global settings, you can see that there is a section for talking points. Just enable it, and you can also enable it for particular categories. Health, family, sports, and entertainment is what is offered currently. Bear in mind that out of the box, the widget within the form is not visible by default, so you may have to go into the back end and make it visible. All right, guys. So we are almost towards the end of exploring the different features within the Dynamics 365 Sales Insights. The last one I have for you is Conversation Intelligence, and the way to configure it is pretty simple. Go into the Sales Insights settings, and then you will see the Conversation Intelligence right at the bottom. Click on Learn More, and it is going to bring out this window for you. What you can see in here is that there is a bit of sample data that is provided by Microsoft, but if you want to upload your own data, then the prerequisite is that you need to have a software that can record your calls, and then you can upload it into Azure storage. Once you've done that, you will be able to connect your data either with Redbox or from within the CRM. And what the conversation intelligence is essentially doing is that it analyzes your phone calls and it gives you AI driven insights into what your customers are talking about, what are the sentiments, or what are the brands that they are talking about, those keywords that you've configured, what is the analytics around that, and also gives you a status of your pipeline. So the breakdown within this conversation intelligence is that there is the home screen, the team overview, and seller details. In the home screen, if you can set the time frame, I've put my date as Feb 10 to Feb 16. It gives me a summary of what has happened within those days. It tells me that quarter one is ending in 43 days, the number of days won. What is the average revenue and what is the win rate? What are your customers talking about? So, in the past couple of days, I've had 35 phone calls, and within this 35 phone calls, 25% is positive and 26% is negative. Uh, on the right hand side, it gives me a little bit of insight into these customer sentiments, and it tells me that the negative sentiments are essentially talking about some pain points that customers are facing and how can we leverage this to improve customer satisfaction. The conversation intelligence also lets you track keywords, so you can go in and configure some of the keywords that you would like to get more notifications and insights on. These could be just keywords or phrases. Um, we can see that decaf has been mentioned 18 times, which is an increase of 58%. You can go in and drill down in the show details section. We've also got a tracking of the competitors. It's as simple as going in and configuring the keywords for your competitors. Within this show more section, there is some more analytics on other brands and organizations. Let's explore the team overview. This is a pretty smart tool, so it's actually giving you a summary about your team. So it tells you that Molly and Riley appear to talk the most. So it's giving you a bit of insight into your team. It also says in here that Molly, Riley, and Tyler have the lowest talking speed, averaging to 119 words per minute. So it's comparing and giving you these insights. We've got the customer sentiments in here, and then you can drill down and understand as to what the sentiment is, or what are the pain points. We've also got a section in here by customer sentiment by sellers, so you can see that you can understand who has the highest positive sentiment, and who's contributing towards the most negative sentiment. You can use this insights to coach your sellers essentially and improve your customer satisfaction rate. We've also got conversation style in here, so gives you an insight into talking speeds as well, the number of words per minute, switches per calls, pauses before speaking, longest customer monologues. It's giving you all of these insights in one single place. So the seller details gives me a nice little overview of my seller who is Alan. On the right hand side, I've got a bit of statistics on the way Alan speaks. For example, it says 4-second pauses before speaking, 47 seconds of longest customer monologue, etc. Uh, Per calls that Alan has made to our clients, I can see that 20% was positive sentiment and 22% was negative sentiments. And I can go in and drill down into these. I can also see how the trend for customer sentiment is over time. Is it improving or is it declining? If I scroll down here, I can also see the call history. I can go into these calls and actually listen to it and see what the analytics is for each of these calls. For example, let's open the one that says closing the deal. So what it shows me here is the transcript of the call. So it has done a speech to text analytics and it has provided me with the transcript in here. We've got this section divided into overview, action items, and highlights. The overview, it tells me who the conversation was within, what are the related records, and the tags and the different KPIs. The action items actually gives you what the task would be like. For example, one of in the conversation, it says, "Would you like me to send you an email with more details?" So it converts this into a task. There are the different highlights that it shows. So this is essentially the configuration that we have done for the conversation insights. We probably configured different keywords for brands, different keywords for discount, VIP, etc. So if I click on discount, it will take me to that part of the conversation where discount is mentioned. So I can either read it or I can choose to listen to it. So essentially what the conversation intelligence is doing is bringing the data all into one place and giving you a thorough analytics around the conversations that your sellers are having with your clients. All right, so finally, for the key takeaway from today's session, we have seen how the Sales Insights gives us real-time insights into how we can take much more informed decisions, how the assistant has helped us to optimize our customer engagement and also improve our productivity by staying on top of the game. How sales insights can empower our relationships by converting them into revenues. And finally, how organizations can leverage the premium forecasting to really understand your business health and also make those strategic and more informed decisions. Thank you so much for joining me in today's session. I really hope you enjoyed it. Please reach out to me if you have any questions, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.